Let's get into it. Sold Not For Sale podcast. Coach Colin here. We got 1 or 2 more days of terrible lighting. I'm going to correct it though, guys. We got Joe Rogan, Elon Musk, and Elon is the best person, especially right now, to pull the mega out of Joe. And in this episode, you're about to see both of them call out all the lies that the media and the Dems have told about Donald Trump. And then we're going to dig a little deeper afterwards, show a clip of Obama just bull-faced lying, destroying his legacy, whatever anybody felt that he had of a legacy. Then we're going to get into the Liz Cheney comment that people have been trying to morph into something else, and the comment about women. I'm going to do this for women, whether they like it or not, and they're trying to misconstrue that. And Trump gets an odd defender. It's not me. It's not Joe. It's not Elon. It's someone from CNN. Let's start with the Joe Rogan clip first, of course.
Doesn't make any sense logically. Like, how could it even get brought to court if it's illegal?
That's exactly. So that's what I mean. Like, basically, if the government wants to go after you, they'll just find a reason. You know, it's like that famous quote from Beria. You know, like Stalin's like chief torturer, the head of Stalin's secret police, and he's like chief torturer, truly evil human being. Like this guy Beria. His one of his famous quotes was, "Show me the man, and I'll show you the crime."
Right.
They decide that you're the target, and then they figure out the crime afterwards. That's the issue. They decided SpaceX was the target. They just figured out the crime afterwards.
Which is so crazy because that's exactly what they're saying Trump is going to do if he gets into office.
They're doing all the things that they accuse Trump of doing.
Yeah. Openly. Yeah.
I mean, the sheer number of hoaxes that the Democratic Party is pushing over and over again. And it's like, look, I understand like politicians are going to, exaggerate. They're going to misspeak, and they'll tell occasional, untruths, whatever. That's how it is in politics. But when you have deliberate, concerted, repeated pushing of hoaxes, you're like, wait a second, like, come on, man, this is too far.
And you're supposed to be the good guys.
You're supposed to, and you claim to be the good guys? I'm like, exactly.
You're supposed to be the progressives.
Yes, the Dems are like, oh, we're the good guys. We're the honest people. No, hang on. You can't claim to be the good guys. You can't claim to be the honest people if you're deliberately pushing hoaxes that have been debunked thoroughly.
Yeah.
Well, we're like even Snopes, which is a liberal thing, says it's bogus.
Yeah.
Like the Fine People hoax.
Obama just said that on stage.
Obama just said that. I was like, what the flying fuck?
He doesn't give a He doesn't give a fuck. They're just going for it.
Lie.
Flat out lie.
Flat out lie.
How about the other one where Kamala's campaign used what Trump was saying about protecting women and from illegal immigrants?
Thank you.
You remember that? What he was saying is, if the women like it or not, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
When he was saying that, they were trying to say that he was taking away women's right to choose, whether women like it or not. Like, that's not what he was saying.
Absolutely.
He was literally talking about protecting them from dangerous people that are sneaking in through the border.
Yes, exactly. They'll take like not even a full sentence, like a half a sentence from Trump, and then they'll push it on every ad, every speaking event, every
and it gets
media.
repeated on the news.
Yes.
This is what's crazy. They'll talk about it on these news shows. Quote news shows. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, a recent one that came up, which had a lot of people, because a lot of people reached out to me, was like, they're like, oh, Trump says he wants to execute Liz Cheney. I'm like, that is utter bullshit.
It's not what he said at all.
It's not what he said at all. He all he said was like, what he's saying is that, look, if Liz Cheney actually had to fight at the front lines, she'd think twice about going to war.
Exactly.
Like it's easy to go to war. It's easy to be a warmonger if you don't have to, risk dying at the front lines. Like basically it's fucked up if people are having like fancy dinners in Washington D.C. While people are being slaughtered in trenches. It's like you're not feeling the pain.
Exactly.
You're not taking the risk. It's someone else dying.
Exactly.
That's cruel and lacking in empathy. And all Trump was saying was that it's like, Liz Cheney would be much less of a warmonger, because she's a huge warmonger, just like her dad, if she actually had to go to the front lines and fight herself.
And meanwhile, they're saying that he's saying she should be shot.
Yes, which is a total lie. But I had like tons of people call me this weekend saying, "Oh, Trump says he's going to put Liz Cheney in a firing squad." I'm like, that is an outrageous lie. And legacy media ran with that lie, big time. Yeah,
it's crazy. It's just wild to see. And if it wasn't for Twitter or X now, I don't think we would know about all this stuff. I think it would be very difficult for you. I think YouTube throttled. They did something weird. They won't say what they did, but they did something weird with the Trump interview that I did.
Yeah,
where you couldn't find it.
It doesn't make sense.
It made no sense.
I mean, it was like the biggest interview on earth.
Yeah,
and you can't find it.
Yeah. Not only that, it
I'm
wasn't
like,
trending.
Bullshit.
It wasn't trending.
It wasn't
No,
trending.
it wasn't trending.
You're like, there's just no excuse for that, man.
No excuse.
There's no excuse.
It was getting 1 million views. What was it? 1.4 an hour at one point in time. 1.5 an hour.
Yeah.
And it wasn't trending.
Yeah,
Like,
and it's like your channel is a known channel. It's not like it was started yesterday. It's like
Yeah.
it's like this is a high trust. Yours is a high trust channel. It's like you're not trying to scam crypto coins or something, you know. So
well, thank God we put it on X as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I think just with your account and my account alone, it's like 70 million views.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Well, it's like you can't hide things anymore because of you. And if it wasn't for you, I think they would have had total control of social media by now.
Yeah,
They would
that's
have they banned so many accounts during the pandemic, so many dissenting scientists and doctors and physicians. They banned so many conspiracy theorists, so many people that colored outside the lines. They would have done that everywhere, and it probably would have. I think even at what's going on at Facebook, they're being more lenient. You know, you hear Zuckerberg talking about taking a more libertarian stance. That's entirely reaction to the way Twitter has kind of moved the watermark.
Exactly. So, as soon as any company steps out of line and is willing to actually have the truth debated on their platform, it forces the other platforms to allow things to be more truthful, to not censor. Because their censorship becomes glaringly obvious.
Yes. Yes.
And you know, the best thing I found as a rebuttal, like if there's a hoax, is just go to the source material. You know,
Right.
if somebody thinks you know, Trump said that we should put Liz Cheney in a firing squad, I'm like, let me send you a link to X so you can watch his video. That's the best way.
Yes.
Don't take my opinion for it. Don't take anyone's opinion for it. Go to the source material.
And community notes.
Yes, and community notes.
Community
is
notes
awesome.
is the best.
It's awesome.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Because everybody gets checked.
Yes, including me.
Yeah.
And with community notes, all the software is open source and all the data is open source. So you can recreate any given note independently.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's how it should be.
Total, absolute transparency in every way. You know, sometimes I get asked like, "Oh, Elon, can you remove a note?" You know, mostly by the left, but sometimes by the right. I'm like, I don't even remove notes on my own account. Nothing. And by the way, everything is totally open. So if I did that, it would stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
Immediately. Like it's not going to be subtle.
That is the best counter to misinformation.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Like let everybody look at it and say, okay, here's what the actual facts say.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. The counter to misinformation is better information.
Not just that, but having it checked in real time by the
Yeah.
community. So you
Yes.
have millions of people that can go over it and debate whether or not this is true or that's true.
Yes, and just and like I said, like the best way to understand the truth of things is don't take anyone's opinion for it. Look at the source material. You know, so
Yeah.
it's like look at what someone actually said, look at what someone actually did, look at the real videos of the situation, and then you'll know what's real.
Very, very true. And I keep saying it, but you know, if you don't want to do it, all good. I hop on X. I know how to navigate these things. I do the research. But if you're on X, you can find these things rather quickly. You can figure out stuff rather quickly. But again, if you're not, all good. I have no problem. Now, I will say this about what Joe Rogan was saying about YouTube. Now, come on, guys. It's YouTube. They don't do things like that. Honest mistake. It must have been. It must have been, you know? You know what I think it was probably when it came to that? Probably no one really wanted to watch Trump and Joe Rogan, right? Right? That's probably what it was. It's not like there's a guy in a yellow hat who's been waiting for this interview for the past 3 years, and when he couldn't find it, he got really distressed and started tearing up. It's not like that happened, right? No, you know, who cares about that interview, you know? It's not like it was the one thing I wanted, you know? It's not, you know, it's honest mistake happens all the time, you know? It's not censorship and nothing like that. Is that enough, YouTube? Is that enough? Okay. All right. Let's move on. Let's move on. Barack Obama, bull-faced lying. This is sad. Honestly, I don't think he's a good president, but so many people do. And to see him just resorting to straight up lies not only tells me that Kamala and Trump are probably not really neck and neck, but also just shows like this is what he was the whole time. Listen to what he has to say about Trump.
Maybe you're Muslim American or Jewish American and you are heartbroken and furious about the ongoing bloodshed in the Middle East and worried about the rise of anti-Semitism. Why would you place your faith in somebody who instituted a so-called Muslim ban, who sat down for pleasantries with Holocaust deniers, who said that there were very fine people on both sides of a white supremacist rally?
Like, actually, just all lies. All of it. Like, nothing he said was true. Do you know how crazy that is?
And
Here's
you
the
had
actual.
people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists, okay? And the press has treated them absolutely unfairly. And you had people, and I'm not talking about the...
So there you go. That is that debunked. But again, all the things he just said were not true. And actually, there was a clip. I lost it, but there is a clip. The Jewish community is not taking kindly to what Barack Obama said. And apparently, in New York, there is a bunch of religious Jewish people who are blaring on big speakers in Yiddish to go and vote for Trump. So that's what they think about what Obama had to say. Now, here's another lie that we're going to dig into. The whole whether the women like it or not that Joe was talking about. Let's get into that.
They said, sir, I just think it's inappropriate for you to say. I said, well, I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not. I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not. 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 I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not. Kamala has imported criminal migrants from prisons and jails, from insane asylums and mental institutions all over the world, from Venezuela to the Congo, including savage criminals who assault and murder our women and girls. Anyone who would let monsters kidnap and kill our children does not belong anywhere near the Oval Office. And my people told me about 4 weeks ago, I was saying, no, I want to protect the people. I want to protect the women of our country. I want to protect the women. Sir, please don't say that. Why? They said, we think it's very inappropriate for you to say. I said, why? I'm president. I want to protect the women of our country. They said... They said, sir, I just think it's inappropriate for you to say, pay these guys a lot of money. Can you believe it? I said, well, I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not. I'm going to protect them.
There you go. That is what he was saying. You can get full context if you just do a little digging. But the Kamala Harris campaign, the Kamala HQ Twitter account did not bother doing any of that, and they actually tweeted this out in regards to what Donald Trump said. Trump, I told the women I will be their protector. They said, sir, please don't say that. He said, I'm going to do it whether they like it or not. And they actually tried to liken this, and this is a great account here. This account, all they do is expose Kamala Harris's campaign's lies. That's all they do. That's every single tweet. That's all it ever is. So the lie was that Trump said he's going to take away women's rights, whether they like it or not. Truth is exactly what you guys just said. He wants to protect them from criminals that Kamala Harris let into the country. So that's just very interesting. Kamala Harris campaign did not choose to do any type of digging because it's not in their benefit. This person, oddly, defending Trump. It's getting weird, man. I mean, Trump has the Muslims, he has Jews, he has blacks, he has Hispanics, he has gays, he has trans people. This is getting out of control.
When Trump said he was going to do something for women, whether they like it or not, whether the women like it or not, he was talking about protecting women, whether they like it or not. Certainly you can take issue with the language, but he wasn't saying he was just going to do whatever he wanted, regardless of, Anyway, but let's talk. I mean, But you take my point. You don't disagree, right? I'm saying I'm going to protect them, whether that women want me to protect them, whether right.
And some would say that's misogynist, and that's.
But it's not as she presented it.
I think. Look,
when Trump said,
Jake Tapper getting fed up. He's like, I've been calling this guy Hitler for years, and he's clearly not Hitler. My credibility is just in the trash. He's like, what am I supposed to do? I see CNN doing this from time to time. They realize all the stuff they've said, but, good for him for actually being able to say that out loud in CNN. I'm sure he was reprimanded very much so. You know what it probably is when it comes to guys like this? They're probably seeing Tucker Carlson, and everybody's just like, I thought Tucker was done after he got fired. And they're like, I thought you disappear when you get fired. You get bigger? You make more money? What's going on? Jake Tapper's probably fed up. He's probably just like, this is ridiculous. I've had to go to 3 Diddy parties. I met a lizard person once. They were not kind to me at all. Did terrible things to me. I'm tired of this mainstream stuff. I'm sure he is. I wish more people like him, even if you don't like him, I wish more people like him would quit and have a Tucker Carlson moment and just go all out. I'm waiting for it. Now let's get into the last one. The Liz Cheney comment. Now, what they were saying is he wanted to put her in front of a firing squad. This is actually what he said.
She's a radical war hawk. Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her, okay? Let's see how she feels about it. When the guns are trained on her face. They're all war hawks when they're sitting in Washington in a nice building saying, oh, gee, let's send 10,000 troops right into the mouth of the enemy. But she's a stupid person. And I used to I'd have meetings with a lot of people, and she always wanted to go to war with people. So she's a radical war hawk.
Just like her father, 100%. And that's all he was saying. He was saying, why doesn't she have to go to war? Like, if you had to go, maybe you'd have a different perspective on things. And that's 100% true. And Liz Cheney, Lindsey Graham, Nikki Haley, all of them. Go check it out. Go over there and see, even just go to the infirmary. Forget about even putting a firearm in their hand. Go to the infirmary and check out how it really goes down. What really happens to these guys. As a matter of fact, why don't you go home with a couple of veterans and see how that goes as well? And then they would have a different perspective. So I agree 100% with what Trump is saying. There was actually a thing. This is weird. There was actually something proposed at one point. You can look this up. I think I read it in the book Atomic Habits. I think it was that book, where they proposed that a president, in order to get the nuclear codes, okay, or the key to detonate, that's what it was, the key to detonate, they were proposing putting it inside of a person. And if a president wanted to get access to the codes, he had to go inside of that person, not Diddy style. No, war style. Like they would have to take that person's life in order to get the detonator. And they wanted to do that because it would make the president understand what he's about to do on a completely different level. I don't know. I obviously that didn't happen, but interesting idea. A lot of these guys who are in politics have this idea that it's just like, yeah, we'll send 10,000, we'll send 20,000. Yeah, we'll just leave them over there for 4 years. It's like, do you have any idea what you're doing? How many families you're tearing up? Someone like Kamala Harris would have no problem doing that. I have to say, listen, I am biased. I talk about it all the time. I want to see Trump win. I feel like he's going to win, but she would have no problem doing that. I keep saying she comes from the perspective of an authoritarian because she's used to just saying, you, jail. And she, in that same perspective that Trump thinks Liz Cheney should have, she needs that perspective as well, because she never thinks when she does that type of thing, I'm going to put this person in jail for marijuana. They're going to be around killers. They're going to have to fend for themselves inside of there. they're going to have to do even more violence. They're going to have to join gangs. They're going to have crazy affiliations. They might even get assaulted in more than just a violent way. She doesn't think about anything like that. You want a president who's going to think about that. So the fact that Trump, I don't think anybody realizes how strong what Trump just said really is, because that shows that he has that empathy. It makes sense. That whole not going to war thing, it shows when he says this, that it wasn't just about him and it wasn't just about legacy. He's actually thinking about the soldiers. So big kudos to him. I'm going to go on to another Joe Rogan clip for those of you that are still hanging with us, because you know what? Sometimes the people who are the real listeners deserve a little bit more. I'm going to play one more small clip for you guys real quick. Let's get into this.
It's pure propaganda. And she said it, the Russiagate hoax. For 3 years, they said that he was Putin's toy.
Yes.
And that Putin had him compromised. The Steele dossier.
Steele dossier was completely fabricated by a lawyer at Perkins Coie, who was paid by the Clinton campaign. Literally.
Crazy.
And still people think the Russia hoax is real.
And there's no repercussions.
Yes.
No one had to apologize. Hillary Clinton never came out and apologized for that, and people still listen to her. The whole thing's crazy. Yeah. And it's all coming from the left, which growing up as a person who was in the left my whole life, it doesn't make any sense.
Same. I mean, I was on the left until like 3 years ago. Like, I mean, you know,
it's not the left anymore.
It's not the left anymore. Yeah. It's just like, I think we obviously want. I mean, I believe like we want freedom. Like we want to maximize personal liberty. I think we want to be kind to people. You know, we want to have empathy, but it's very important to have personal freedom and a merit-based society. And the left wants to oppress your freedoms, especially freedom of speech, and they want to have a non-merit-based society. You know, with race-based and sex-based preferences. And it's like, well, wait a second. No, we just want people to succeed based on their skills and their hard work.
Man, couldn't agree more. And, you know, I was just having a conversation with a friend, my editor, actually. And he kept saying, like, I was like talking about the Republicans, and he kept saying, he's like, it's not even the Republican Party anymore. He goes, it's the Unity Party. And this is somebody who's center, but he has like a little left leaning. He's like, it's the Unity Party. He goes, look at everything they've done. Look at everything they've put together. Look at how they're approaching things. He's like, this is the Unity Party. And I couldn't agree more, because right now, when you're looking at the left, you're looking at people who are like boxes. I need you in the boxes. You're black, you're gay, you're this, you're fat, you're skinny. Don't be fat phobic, trans. They are putting people in as many boxes as possible. And you're looking at the right now. They're like, come one, come all. Everyone's American here, you know? And at first it was like, wow, are they really going to cater to black people? And then it was like Hispanics. And then it's like guys from the hood, and it's dudes who are country, and it's white, and it's black, and it's all of these things. Gay, Jewish, Muslim. Patrick Bet-David was just talking about it. I'm going to do another episode on it. He's like, what president do you know talks about ending the war in Gaza, wants Israel to defend themselves, and then ends up getting support from the Muslims and the Jews? He's like, when does this happen? There's so much unity. Guys, get out there and vote. It is November 4th right now. If you haven't, please, 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 please do. Please do. There is a lot at stake. There's a reason why Elon Musk is here. It's not because him and Joe just wanted to kick it. There's a lot at stake. Get out there and vote. Okay? Like, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Helps us tremendously. And other than that, I'm out.